crazy mom, welcome back to my channel. And in this video I'm going to be showing you guys how to make big batches of turmeric bars and how to swirl them in the loaves. If you watched my last how to make turmeric soap video, I've gotten a bunch of comments stating that they could not hear me over the music, and I did not realize that until after I posted it. So I was like, okay, let me just make another video for you guys so you can completely hear me without any music. What I will be using to make this soap is sweet almond oil, grapeseed oil, glycerin, turmeric, lavender essential oil, and alcohol. I cut up 2 different soap bases and put them in 2 separate bowls. I use premium extra clear and premium goat's milk. I got them both from Wholesale Supplies Plus. I will be leaving everything I use in the description below, so make sure you guys check that. Now I'm starting to weigh out my oils. A rule of thumb I follow by for every pound of soap base is 5 grams of oil I can add. So I cut up 18 ounces of clear soap, which is about 1 pound. So that's 5 grams of oil I can add. And for my goat's milk soap, I cut up 23 ounces, which is about 1.6 pounds, but I rounded that up to 2 pounds. So that came out to 10 grams of oil I've added to that base. When it comes down to measuring the oils, specifically the sweet almond oil and the grapeseed oil, I usually do half and half. So 10 grams, I will use 5 grams of grapeseed, and then the other 5 will be sweet almond oil. And then with 5 grams, I'll do 2.5 of one, 2.5 of the other. You guys see where I'm going. So I don't usually prioritize one over the other. Sometimes I do a little bit more grapeseed than sweet almond oil since the grapeseed is a lighter oil. But majority of the time I do half and half. But you guys don't have to use grapeseed oil or sweet almond oil. You can use any oil of your choice, or you don't have to do half and half. You can do the full 5 grams or full 10 grams of whatever oil of your choice. So it just all depends on your preference. I prefer grapeseed and sweet almond oil since they both lather well in soap and they help with dry skin and are great for sensitive skin as well. I advise that you're temperature checking your soap, and I recommend getting a temperature gun so you can make sure that your soap is not getting burnt or overheated. I try not to go over at least 150 or 160 degrees Fahrenheit because that's when my soap starts to get burnt, and I can tell because there's a smell and my soap starts to get cloudy and it starts to change colors. So I try to stay in the range of 130s and 140s. I did forget to mention that I am melting both of these soap bases on the stove top because it'll help me take control of the temperature a little bit more. And it's important that you melt your bases with slow and gentle heat to prevent burning. So I do have the stove top on a low setting of heat. Now I'm adding a little bit of glycerin because it has great hydrating properties, and it'll also help that turmeric color pop a little bit. But do not add too much glycerin because that's when your soap will start to become soft once it hardens. Shortly you will start to see me add in the essential oil. You can do 1 teaspoon of fragrance per pound, or you can keep adding until you get your desired aroma. Or you can experiment with the amounts to see how much you can add before separation occurs between the fragrance oil and the base. But be sure to make sure that your base cool down before adding in any fragrance because the smell will burn off if the base is too hot and you will not get that aroma once the base hardens. So let it cool down a little bit and then add in your fragrance. I sprayed my mold with alcohol to prevent soda ash, and now I'm adding a little bit of that first base so we can now begin the swirling process. Before adding in your second layer, you want to make sure that it is cool enough to add on top of that first layer, because if you pour the second layer in too hot, the colors will start to mix. So make sure that the second layer is cooled down just a little bit before adding it on top of that first layer. Once that top layer is firm, you can now add in the second layer and begin the swirling process. But make sure you spray the first layer with alcohol so that they can stick. Now I'm going to take the tail of the spoon and start swirling. You can make it as messy as you want. I try to bring the first layer up to the top a little bit so it can stick up, if that makes sense. So once I add in that third layer, it'll be going through that third layer as well. Once I see that the colors are starting to mix, that's when I take a pause and let it harden, because when I swirl too much, it'll change from two different colors to one color, and it don't usually turn out how I want it to be. So I stop once I see it starts to change colors, spray it with alcohol, and then let it harden. Now that I added in the third layer, I'm going back in with the tail of the spoon and making sure that first and second layer is going through the third layer. The goal was to have swirls throughout the bar, so I did let the third layer get a little bit firm, and then I took the rest of the first layer and added it on top. This is the next day. I let the soap sit overnight, and we will now begin the cutting process. And if you guys do want a video of me making the honey oatmeal soap, I can do that. Just let me know in the comments. I got about 9 bars out of each loaf. The honey oatmeal soap did not turn out how I wanted it to be because I wanted a little bit more swirls, but it's okay because the bars are still beneficial. But the turmeric soap came out exactly how I imagined, like they're perfect. Now, when dealing with loaves, the downside for me is scraps because sometimes I'll have bigger scraps than others. So, usually I'll just take them for myself or just give them to somebody, but this is what's left over after cutting the soap up. Now, the final process is shrink wrapping the soaps. I get about 200 pieces and I get them all from Amazon, and I will also put that in the description below. If you stayed to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I was able to teach you something valuable. And join the Crazy Mob because why not? Make sure to leave a like and a comment, and I will try to get back to everybody in the comment section. But regardless, I will see you guys in the next freaking video.